For a long time, Ned Kelly's story is told as if it began with gunfire. But the truth is quieter and in some ways worse. Because before the armor, before the manhunt, before the shootout in the bush, there was a single decision that turned a family conflict into an outbreak. A policeman rode to the Kelly home. He left wounded. And 2 days later, Ned Kelly's mother was arrested. That arrest did not create the legend by itself. It created the point of no return. In April of 1878, the Kelly family were already known to police in northeast Victoria. They were watched, they were suspected, and they lived with a constant pressure that never fully lifted. At the center of what came next was Constable Alexander Fitzpatrick. On the evening of April 15th, Fitzpatrick went to the Kelly home at 11 Mile Creek, near Greta, with the claim that he was there to arrest Daniel Kelly. Why Dan? The short answer is that police believed he was involved in horse theft, and a warrant had been issued for him. The longer answer is that in this world, arrests were not only about a single charge. They were about control. They were about reputation. They were about whether the police believed they could walk into a home like that and leave with someone in custody. Fitzpatrick's visit has been argued over for more than a century. Even the basic question of what happened inside that house is disputed. Fitzpatrick claimed he was attacked during an attempted arrest and that he was shot in the wrist, and he blamed Ned Kelly as the shooter. Ned Kelly denied he was even there. He denied it consistently, even later, even when denying it harmed him. So what is fact and what is contested? It is broadly agreed that Fitzpatrick went to the Kelly home on April 15th, and a violent struggle occurred, and he returned wounded with a gunshot injury to his wrist. After that, warrants and charges followed quickly. Ellen Kelly, her son-in-law William Skillion, and a neighbor, William Williamson, were arrested and charged with aiding and abetting attempted murder. This is where the story tightens. Because Ellen Kelly had just given birth, according to the State Library of Victoria, she was arrested 2 days after the birth of her 12th child. Whatever you think about the Kelly family, whatever you think about Ned, it is hard to miss what that meant. It meant police were no longer dealing with this as a local disturbance. They were making an example. And that example had a mother at its center. Ellen was later convicted and sentenced to 3 years in prison. This is one of the most important and least understood turning points in the entire Kelly story. Because for Ned and Dan, the Fitzpatrick incident was not just a fight with a constable. It was the moment the state came into the family home and then took their mother. From there, the logic of escalation takes over. Dan Kelly went into hiding. Ned Kelly also vanished into the bush. The official line was that they were fugitives avoiding justice. Their own view was different. In their eyes, the system had already decided what they were, and it would not stop until it had them. Here is where the facts stay clear and the meaning becomes the battleground. Within months, the situation exploded. In October 1878 at Stringy Bark Creek, police went out to find the Kellys. Only one man came back alive. The others were dead. But if you want to understand how a bushranger becomes a legend, you cannot start at Stringy Bark Creek. You start earlier. You start with a home. You start with a mother. And you start with the part of history that will not give you a clean answer. Because even historians and even official sources are careful about what they claim happened that night. Some accounts say Fitzpatrick was justified. Others suggest he handled it recklessly. Some report rumors about Fitzpatrick and Kate Kelly. But rumors are not proof, and they cannot be treated as fact. And the central claim, who fired the shot, remains unconfirmed in a way that satisfies everyone. One major biographical source, the Australian Dictionary of Biography, is direct about the uncertainty. Ned denied being present. Others later claimed he confessed, and the true facts were never satisfactorily established. That sentence matters, because it captures what the Kelly story becomes, a battle between records and reputation, between what the system said happened and what the accused insisted was true, between law and legitimacy. From the outside, the law looks like order. From inside the Kelly home, it may have felt like pursuit. And this is why the arrest of Ellen Kelly hit like a hammer. If the goal was to bring Dan in, they failed. If the goal was to bring Ned in, they failed. But they did manage to put his mother in Melbourne jail and to stamp the family with a final mark of disgrace. That is not a detail. That is motive. Not motive in the simple sense, not a movie version where everything turns on one moment. Motive in the human sense. The sense that a line has been crossed and the people crossing it are protected by their own authority. In later years, Kelly would write fiercely about police conduct and injustice, painting them as corrupt, abusive, and politically shielded. You do not have to accept his self-portrait to understand why those words took root. By the time the public met Ned Kelly in headlines, they met him as a myth. Armored, surrounded, unkillable. But for the people who lived it, the turning point was not the armor. It was the arrest. It was the feeling that the system could enter your life, decide your guilt, and then punish your family while calling it justice. After April 1878, the Kellys were no longer just suspects. They were at war with the police force of Victoria, and the colony was about to learn what happens when a dispute becomes a symbol. This is why this moment matters. Because if you want to understand the legend, you have to see what created the pressure, not the spectacle, the mechanism. The part where a policeman rides up, a struggle happens, the story fractures into competing truths, and the state responds by taking a mother from her home. After that, there is no return to normal, only the next step, only the next escalation, only the long road toward Stringybark Creek, Euroa, Geraldary, Glen Rowan, and the end that could not end the argument. In the next episode, we go deeper into what the police believed they were dealing with, what the Kellys believed they were surviving, and why the hunt that followed only made the legend stronger.